Well, hello, welcome to the latest episode of the Purple Door Podcast, a Friends Rewatch Pod. I'm your host, Alasdair, along with my wonderful good friend, DeeAnn. DeeAnn, how are you today?
I am doing great, Al. How are you?
Wonderful. We are both in as we were just talking about, the depths of spring break. We both have this week off. We're not sure what day it is, what time it is, but we've made it to recording a podcast and both enjoying a bit of downtime.
Yeah, 1 week is just enough, man, to start losing what
Yes.
am I supposed to be doing something right now?
Right. Is today Thursday? Is today Friday? We're never quite sure, but we're making it. We're making it. We're knocking out our to-do lists and
Yes.
back to work on Monday. But before we do
Boo.
that, yeah,
Oh,
boo to
I
work.
mean, I say that. I love my
Yes,
job.
as
I
do
love
I.
yes, but this life is a good life too.
It is, yeah. I'm sure we've mentioned this before. Both Deanne and I are in education. We both love our jobs, but as with any line of work, I think there's that slight dread before you go back. But once you're in your routine, we absolutely love it. But before we go back to work, we are going to record another episode, and this week it is season 1, episode 14, I believe, the one with the candy
Golly.
hearts. We're flying
That's
along.
we are, and that's crazy.
Yes.
14.
So before we get stuck into the episode, we'll mention quickly that in 2 weeks, I think a week on Sunday, we are recording a live episode at Miss Angeline's right here in Denton, Texas, just off the square. So if there's anybody local who has not responded or joined in our Facebook group, you're welcome to come along. Just look on Facebook for the Purple Door Podcast group. I think, is that what it's called? I've suddenly forgotten.
The club.
The
Purple
club. That's it.
Podcast Club. We are a club
We are a
of
club. We're the cool
of
club.
cool people.
Absolutely. Come join us there. You'll see the invite and stay for 10 minutes, stay for 2 hours, whatever you want. We're just going to have a good time and
And
talk all things friends. It won't be about a specific episode.
yes,
But yes, so why don't we start diving into a nice little round of bamboozled? I had to cut myself off at 9 questions for
whoa.
this one. Yes, I'm hoping that I've got some duplicates, which I'm sure we do. But why don't you go first in this week's round of
Why don't
bamboozled?
you go first? Because
Oh,
I've only got 7, and
okay.
I am concerned that one of them, like, it's not actually possible for you to know the answer. Oh, I didn't
Okay.
even write that one down. So just kidding. I have 7. And then I have
Okay.
one that
I
I'll
want
just
extra.
talk along about.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to go in order that I've written these down. What is the name of Joey's date?
Oh, Janice's friend.
Yes. That's it. She does have a legal formal name, but it's Janice's friend. Yes.
Okay. Oh, yikes. I have literally no idea. Is it Sally? I don't
It
know.
is not, but that is my sister's name who listens to this podcast.
Ah, maybe that's
So
why that's in my brain.
shout out to my wonderful big sister Sally. But
Way to
no,
go, Sally.
Sally, she listens all the time. Joey's date's name is Lorraine.
Mm. Wow. Okay.
Yes.
All right. At the beginning,
Yes.
whenever they are encouraging Ross to go and talk to the girl,
Yes.
who hands the egg to Ross?
I think that has to be Joey.
It is not.
It's
It is
oh,
Chandler.
I was
It's
picturing
Chandler.
Joey getting it from the waitress, but I might be wrong. But maybe Joey gives it to Chandler.
Yeah, so and Joey's the one who's like talking him through, this is what you're gonna say and
Right.
whatever. And Chandler's the one who actually hands him the
Ah,
egg
I
that
missed
he
that
later
bit.
smashes up against with him. So
Yes, which we will discuss that. Yes, I had a
yeah.
thought on that. So now that we've established her name is Lorraine, what does she
Ew.
ask Joey to order when they're checking their coats?
Ah!
Is that one of yours?
That is one of mine. So a white Zinfandel for
Yes.
Lorraine is her name,
Yes.
and a glass of red for
For
Janice.
Janice. Yes.
Janice.
No, Janice. Yes, indeed.
Okay.
All right, what have you got for us?
All right. At the end, whenever the firemen are at the girl's house or at
Yes.
the girl's apartment, what number is on the firemen's helmets?
Oh, I have no idea. So we're looking for three numbers?
Nope, just two.
Oh, just two numbers. 17, 17.
Ooh, it's actually 27. 27.
Okay, not far off.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was a great guess.
It'd
A
be
lot
worth looking
closer
up at
than Sally for Lorraine.
for Sally
So,
Lorraine. It'd be interesting to see. I'm assuming that's Fire Station 27. So if that is actually the one that is near where the apartment is supposedly set,
ooh.
or is it just a random prop number? Be interesting to see. All right, I've got a couple of my questions I'm desperate to ask you, so I'm just going to go out of order. Um,
Okay.
a miniature sporting replica is on Chandler's headboard. It's a throwback to a previous episode. What miniature item is it?
What? It has to be a hockey player. Or
You're very, very
or a
close.
hockey puck or a hockey stick
It's a
or
miniature New York Rangers hockey stick.
there
Yes.
you go.
Well
Okay.
done. Well
Wow,
done.
that's crazy. Okay, and so we'll talk more about the candy hearts later.
Yes.
But the candy hearts, what do they say?
I believe they say Chen and Jen forever.
Yeah, they do.
It's just, again, just brilliant. Everything to do with those two. Um,
You're a
speaking,
mess.
speaking of Jen, what does Jenna say Chandler can do with the bag of heads that she has? Yes.
What? Have a puppet show for his theater of
Yes.
despair, theater of whatever line that was just perfect.
The theater
His
of cruelty. Yes.
cruelty. Yeah, I wrote that down. Theater of cruelty.
Yes.
And the bag of heads and the
Right.
imagery cracked me up. That made me laugh.
Yes.
All right. So, how many times has Chandler dumped Janice in what time period?
Oh, that's a great question. So, I feel like he's dumped her twice
Yes.
in the past 6 months.
5.
But,
Yeah.
oh, let's just
But
go for
whenever
a round
he's like,
number.
how do I dump her? This is a woman I've dumped twice in the last 5 months. Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Well, on that note, sort of, Chandler's obviously feeling a little bad. What's he coming back as in his next life? Yeah.
Toilet brush.
I love that line so much. Yes.
I did too.
Yeah.
And it's just said with such like, oh dang.
Right.
That is happening.
I love it.
Okay. So what are the 2 ways the girls can have their cleansing ritual?
They can dance around naked with sticks, or they can just burn stuff. One or the
Yeah.
other. Yes.
Yes.
Burning's good. Burning's good.
Yeah.
Burning's good. When Chandler realizes that Joey has left and he's left his credit card, what are the 3 things he offers to Janice that he could buy with the credit card?
A big screen TV.
Yep. And there was 2 things before that.
I the 2 things that actually made sense.
Exactly. Yes.
Oh. Probably drink,
Yeah.
food, and then a
Drink,
big screen TV.
Drink, dessert, a big screen TV.
There
Yes.
you go.
Yes.
All right. So who's the only friend that doesn't greet Janice on Valentine's Day?
I feel like it's got to be Ross or Phoebe. One of those two. So I'm gonna guess Ross.
It's actually Phoebe because
Oh,
Monica goes and calls Ross on the phone.
oh, that's right. I
And
didn't
gets
picture him there. That's right. Yeah, he just happened to call. That's right.
Yeah.
All right, I've got
Okay.
two good ones and then one filler. So we'll see what we have here. According to
Okay.
Ross, how much time does a dog lose when he flies from New York to Los Angeles?
A week and a half.
A week and a half. Yes.
Yes, and that made me laugh a lot too.
Right.
And yeah, that was he's such a dork.
He is.
Um, okay, so here's my question that I was going to ask,
Right.
but then upon further research this morning, I discovered that it was in a cutscene. So I was
Right.
going to say, what are the 3 pieces of advice the firemen give the girls whenever they're having a burning ritual? And like, there's no way to know for
No,
you.
I wonder if one of them is the piece of advice I would give them, which we'll discuss later on, which is burn the stuff on the balcony. But
In a well-ventilated area,
okay,
that's
there we
the
go.
first.
Right. What are the other
Okay,
two?
okay, if you're going to be burning their clothes, stay away from synthetic materials,
Good to know.
and then let go of the anger and learn to love yourself.
How very philosophical from our firefighting
For
friends.
firefighters, yeah, that's some good stuff.
That's fantastic. Well, I've
Yep.
got two more. We'll do this one. What's the name of the ex-boyfriend Rachel describes in the kitchen?
Oh,
I think he was the crier, as she called him.
Howard. Oh no, that's the I win. Pete Carney, the Weeper.
Yes, Pete Carney it is. Yes.
Yes, and then you have the Howard, the I win guy.
That's right.
That I can't believe that Monica would have dated for 2 whole months
Right.
because
Seems very
as much
odd.
as she loves to win, but yeah,
Right.
whatever. Whatever.
Do you have any more for me, or should I?
No, I'm all out.
All right. Well, I'm just going to throw one more at you because it's education related.
Ooh,
So
I
I
love it.
think these are good for us.
Oh,
You already know we've established in
6th grade.
6th grade. There you go. I swore she taught a different grade. Now we know she was in elementary school, and of course she could have moved. But yes, that stood out to me because I remember thinking she was like a kindergarten teacher, but
Yes.
she's not. She just had a parent-teacher conference, so that could have been any age.
Okay, and so I was going to ask
Yes.
about Susan's job. Well, never mind. I'll just wait until we get there, and then we'll
Yeah, I'd like
chat
to
about
talk
it.
about that though.
Yeah.
But yeah, certainly time to
And
dive in. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just saying, then
Yeah.
we'll have the infamous conversation that we have every week about how you need to get the DVDs.
Hey,
So
already
just
we're 12
spoiler
minutes in.
alert.
I still need the
Foreshadowing
DVDs.
at its best, right there.
Yes. Well, let's dive in. We start off at Central Park, and the boys are sitting around, and Ross sees this woman that he knows from his building. I love this opening. I just think it's a really funny one. Chandler and Joey convince him to return the egg that he had borrowed. I think it's Joey asking for an egg. I'm not quite sure why Central Park would have an egg. Um, I'm sure that if I think about it, there's a reason. But why would they just have an egg? Because they're not. Maybe they are making sandwiches in the back or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird
Yeah,
because do they have a back area like a kitchen?
I
don't
I don't think
know.
they do. Space in Manhattan being a premium, I would assume they just get that stuff delivered and then sell it rather
Right.
than having a big kitchen in the back. I would think.
Yeah.
But
But
mhm,
the Chandler's line, whatever. Okay,
yes,
so I watch it twice, and I
as we
watched it
do.
the first time I watched it, I took my notes, and then the second time Joseph watched it with me, and I noticed he laughed out loud at that scene whenever at this scene whenever Chandler's like, I think it's winning.
Yes,
And, like just the delivery of that line and
yes.
like, what are you even saying, man? Like, it's just funny.
It is
Funny, funny, funny.
that sort of confidence, or that yes.
Yes, and
It's
then as
it's
soon as he walks off, it's suicide. The man's got an egg,
right. The
like,
man's got an egg. Now, speaking of the egg, now go with the egg, my friend, is one of my all-time favorite lines. But we'll get to it. But when was the last time you borrowed a single food item from a neighbor?
Oh. Ooh, well, it was from my mother-in-law. I asked her
Ah,
they were coming over and I was making something and I needed sugar. And I was out of
ah,
sugar. I had brown sugar, I had powdered sugar, but I needed just regular sugar. And so she brought me a little baggie full of sugar, and that was
very nice.
nice.
Good old mother-in-law.
Yeah. And that
Yes.
was just a couple of weeks ago. Now,
Excellent.
prior to that, I have no clue. I have no
Right.
clue. I don't really I don't enjoy running out of things. Like
Right.
yeah, so typically I am able to have what I need on hand. So,
Right.
yeah. Do y'all borrow things or have neighbors that borrow from y'all often?
Not often, but I mean, I could. A neighbor did borrow an egg maybe 6 weeks ago, which is
Okay.
what made me think of this because it happened to be an egg too. Um, One of those things we have like a little. We live very close to an intersection. We're 2 houses away, and we have a little group text about 12 of us who live around this intersection. I did ask to borrow a really tall ladder the other day, which unfortunately nobody had.
Oh.
We needed to get to the top of our chimney, so I had to rent one. That's a whole other story. But that's the text that I would use, and has been used. Hey, does anyone have some milk? Does anyone have this? It gets used once in a while, and somebody always comes through.
Oh, that's
When you're
nice.
basically, yeah, it's a nice little neighborly thing that
Yeah.
we have going on. But yeah, so I just turned over my paper by mistake. So yeah, Ross goes to return the egg, and there's just these boom, 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 these really funny lines from Chandler.
Mhm.
Let's go with the egg, my friend, and yeah, I think it's winning, and you're right, it's the way he sort of shakes his head. It's just
Yes.
brilliant. Um, but then we go from there. We're still at Central Park, but the girls come in, and Roger, creepy Roger, who we just got rid of,
Right?
wants to ask Phoebe out on Valentine's Day, and of course she's tempted because it's Valentine's Day.
Right.
Joey and Chandler discuss the double date that they're going to go on. Sounded like Chandler was going to flake out on him.
Oh,
Thinking,
yeah,
eh.
100%, because he's like, "Eh."
Right.
Oh,
And
yes.
then yeah, Ross returns. He says yes. Chandler gives him this hug. And why in the world does Ross put the egg in a suit pocket? I was trying to imagine what would happen here that would cause you to tuck it in. Wouldn't you just hold it in your hand?
You would think so, right?
Yes.
But, okay, so that scene made me think of I Love Lucy.
Okay.
Do you do did you ever watch I
I've
Love
I've
Lucy?
never seen it. Nope.
Okay, so I've seen probably every single episode multiple times. Like it was one of the shows that my mom really liked. So whenever it was on, and it's just a silly, silly show. You
Right.
know, that's it's good. But one of the scenes that has the longest laugh track, or not laugh track, but like the longest studio audience
Mm-hmm.
laugh, is a scene from I Love Lucy. And it's the scene where she's hiding the eggs. Like they've moved, I think they've moved to the country or something, and
Right.
she has stuck all these eggs in her pockets because she's hiding them
Right.
from Ricky. And I can't remember why, but one of them is like she's dancing with maybe Ricky, somebody, but you're waiting for those eggs to break, and then whenever they finally do it, she has smashed up against the person, and you just know, ugh. So
That's going to be a mess.
I feel like that scene, it's it's connected to that,
Right.
because see, and I wish I would have like, why is this something I just randomly know? I have no idea. But
Right. But
I
it's
wish.
obviously a pivotal point in that show too, or a funny,
Oh,
an iconic moment.
yes.
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 But
Um
I just couldn't imagine a situation where I was carrying an egg in anything other than my like any pocket, loose in a bag, anything like that. I wouldn't be carrying an egg. Um, so That I'm not quite. I don't know. Just thought that was an interesting decision on his part to stick it in the pocket. Um,
Yeah, but I feel like
yes,
it's a nod to that
yes,
scene.
that would
I
make
feel like it,
sense.
but yeah, she's
Yeah.
doing the tango with him.
Okay. I'll need to. I'm sure this is on YouTube. We'll need to look it up.
Yeah. Like, I'm
Yes.
Googling it now because it's like we're talking about this. I had no way to realize that I was gonna make that connection and be like,
Right.
because there's also the candy episode where they're putting all the candy in their lap
No,
or in their mouths,
I've seen. Is that
and
where it's like a
that's
conveyor belt thing? I've
yes,
seen that
yes,
clip. Yes.
of course, yes.
Yes.
But this one, the hides the chicken eggs. Yeah. Anyway,
Right. Good to know. We'll have to look that
so
one up. But Ross, he has a date, so he's quite excited about that. But while he's excited, we're over in the girls' apartment and they're discussing all the bad boyfriends they've had. And Phoebe brings up the burning ritual idea. We could you make out what they were making on the table, like what food, what dinner? I was trying to work out what it was, but couldn't. Um, no, there was.
oh, like at the hibachi place?
Oh no, in the girls'
I'm
apartment where they're
sorry.
talking. No, you're
I've
fine.
gotten I now I'm hung up on this I
I
Love
love
Lucy,
Lucy.
and it's the name of the episode is Lucy Does the Tango. They ended up having to cut out part of the laugh track. Okay. Um yeah, I don't know because I
Yeah,
was thinking about that too. I was like,
yeah, they're
what are
doing
they doing?
something, but I couldn't quite figure it out. So I was looking at that, and then also behind them, and I'm going to watch out for this now. There was pictures, I think maybe 5 or 6 photographs, kind of candid photographs on the fridge, and I was trying to look at it to see
Oh,
who was in the pictures, but it's too far away, like it's too blurry.
huh.
But I did wonder if it might be some of their own family photos that they might have stuck on the fridge. Um, of course, it could be completely random and just some props,
Well, and
but
it could, but it could
yeah,
also be because we've seen them looking at pictures of Nana, and we've
right.
seen them. So, like, yeah, there's plenty of random
Yeah,
things.
I'd like to believe that it's maybe some of the cast's family, but we'll see. But yeah, the girls have decided instead of chanting around and dancing around naked with
Oh,
sticks, that they're going to do the burning ritual instead.
okay. And so Phoebe is talking about her friends that has taught her about this whole ritual, the
Yes,
cleansing ritual. And she
yes,
said, my friend Abby that shaves her head.
yes,
And so I'm curious. Joseph says, obviously that's going to be her, but I don't remember her name being Abby. But later, whenever they invite the Phoebe's friend on the
yes,
beach vacation that shaves her head,
yes.
I'm wondering if that's the same friend.
Could be. I
Because,
don't. Her name has escaped me, but it's not Abby.
yeah,
I
but
do know
like, how
that
many
surely
friends does Phoebe have that shave their heads?
that are voluntarily bald. Yes.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
I'm sure
know.
it's the same. Sure, the idea is it's the same person. I would hope.
Mm-hmm. I
Yes,
maybe I don't know. Phoebe's got she's got a whole other life out there.
she does. She knows a lot of people. She
Yes,
lived
she
on the
does.
streets. Yes.
Yes, yes.
So the girls have decided the burning ritual is the way to go. But we bounce over from there to the restaurant where Joey and Chandler are going to meet their dates. That I didn't go back and look, so it could be completely different. Is the restaurant the same one where they discuss underdog getting away? The same set?
Okay, I don't know, but the outside looks the same, but it has a different name, like with the same little
Really?
white awning, and
Okay,
then
I
that
didn't
thing.
catch that.
Yeah, now I say that that might have been for the hibachi place, but it looks like the same outside shot
Right.
from actually not the one where Underdog got away, but the one with Mrs. Bean, where they show the
Ah,
outside of the restaurant.
yes.
It's like the Mexican village,
Yes.
but it's got like this white awning that comes out, and then
Okay.
it's got the name of the restaurant on the white awning. And it looks the same, but it's not the same name.
Right.
So,
That's interesting. Yeah, because I have to remember that at this point, they didn't know if this show was going to make it or not. The
right.
budget would not have been huge. These were unknown, relatively unknown actors and actresses. So I'm sure they were reusing sets multiple times, just dressing them a
Uh-huh.
bit differently or something. Um,
Absolutely.
but that's right. That's when Lorraine comes in, orders the drinks and a red for Janice. And Joey and Chandler just sort of look at each other. No,
Janice.
no. Then she comes in. Oh, Janice. Oh,
Saying,
my
oh,
God. Now, I will throw
yes.
this out there. Good, Steve, friend of the podcast, Steve, when he and I were
Yeah.
discussing this podcast, the idea of it initially, one of the great ideas he came up with was calling this podcast "Oh My Pod," which I thought is a
Ah,
really funny name.
that's clever. I love
Yeah,
it.
I thought that was one of his great ideas. So
Man,
whenever Jenna says that now, I do think of that. Oh My
Steve
Pod, wouldn't
is
it be
a
funny?
gem,
He
isn't he?
really is. He's a knowledgeable gem, is our Steve. Um,
Yes. Way to go, Steve.
yeah,
Way to be.
he'll come back on at least a couple of times and join us both because there's a couple
Mhm.
of episodes he is very keen to talk about
Oh,
a
fun.
little later on. So good old Steve. But yeah, Joey and Lorraine seem to be getting on like a house on fire, and Janice and Chandler not quite the same as they discuss the bag of photos, which is just it's sort of petty but hilarious and just very very
Yes.
funny. Um, I wonder how many
But
pictures they've really taken together because they were never together for terribly long. But
right. But think about on New Year's, whenever she had that camera
yes,
and was taking all the pictures and everything. Uh
and what's she going to do with a bunch of pictures of herself?
well,
I
and
don't
why did
know.
she hang on to his heads?
Right,
That's
right.
weird.
It's an
Neat
odd
for
thing to
great
do.
line though.
It did. Theatre of torture, or whatever it was, in a
Cruelty.
bamboozle. Cruelty, that was it.
Yes.
But yeah, Joey's date seems to be going exceptionally well when she orders the chocolate mousses to go. And Joey's
Yeah.
like, that's
And,
let's see,
and
are we at
just
that
I
point?
hope
Yeah,
she
yes.
throws up on you.
Yes. It just again his lines in this episode. So
Yeah.
good. And then Janice's one about the shirt sticking out the zipper. And why he hops like that, who knows? But man alive, it makes for a
Why?
great, a great line that
Just
how you doing?
yes, just ridiculous. And then
Yeah,
those poor people that are sitting there eating their dinner, just like, what?
what is
Oh,
happening
hello.
here?
Okay.
Yes,
Okay. Rob Roy. He says, a bottle of your most overpriced champagne. And she's like, two. And he goes, and a
yes.
Rob Roy. And she looks at him. And I was like, what on earth is a Rob Roy?
Did
Have
you
you
Google
ever
it?
had a Rob Roy? Heard of a Rob Roy?
I'd heard of it but didn't know what it was, so I had to Google it.
Okay, I did too.
I
I did
thought you
too.
might
Like I
have.
have heard of a Roy Rogers.
Right?
Yeah, and have you had a Roy Rogers? You
I
have a
have
Shirley
not.
Temple and a Roy Rogers, and like both of those are like the fancy non-alcoholic kid drinks. Like
Right.
we got Coke and grenadine and cherry for the Roy Rogers, and then the Shirley Temple is what Sprite, I think, and grenadine and the cherry.
I think so.
Yes, and whenever I was a kid and very, very fancy, that I would like a Shirley Temple, and I had a Roy
Right.
Rogers one time, and I did not care for it, which is odd. As an adult,
Right.
I like cherry Coke, so I don't know.
Right.
But
Now, do you know who
yeah, I
Rob Roy is?
Rob Roy,
Did you
I
know who
don't.
he is?
Is he an old like cowboy?
Oh, he's an old Scottish outlaw.
Stop! Really
Yes, hence the Rob Roy drink. He was a noted
interesting.
Jacobite outlaw in the 1700s, maybe 1800s, 17. I think the early
So is that who the
1700s.
drink is named after?
Yeah, because the drink is just what kind of drink is it? It's like a
It's a
cosmopolitan or something, but they just
it's
replace the vicar
it's
the vodka with whiskey or something. They replace
yeah,
something with whiskey. Yeah, he was like a
whiskey,
Scottish Robin
Burma,
Hood.
and bitters.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Now, Kate and I, anyone in the UK listening will know of the West Highland Way. Kate and I did that hike. It's a 100-mile hike. We did that in 2019. Um, we actually walked past the cave that he hid in um, from an army, so you can go past what's called Rob Roy's Cave on that hike. But yeah, he was like the Robin Hood of Scotland in the, like I said, I think it was the 1700s. Um,
Wow.
yeah, sort of hid out in the
Huh.
Scottish Island. Anyway, that's who the drink's named after.
That's so cool. Huh.
Yeah, there you go.
See?
Every day's a school day,
There you go. Well, see,
right?
because like Roy Rogers and then Shirley Temple, those are like well, Shirley Temple was a child actress,
Mm-hmm.
you uh, a long time ago. And then Roy Rogers was a cowboy. He was a like a TV cowboy or a movie
Right.
cowboy. And so that's interesting.
Yeah,
And
these
then
fun
Rob
drinks.
Roy, yeah, he was like Robin Hood is what you said. Is
Yes.
that who Robin Hood is based on?
I don't know. I don't know if
Oh,
there's
let's just
just have to have a quick look. Why not? The legend of Sherwood
Oh,
Forest and all of that. Yeah, that's it. I'm not sure of the timeline. Um,
oh, okay. So it's likely
yes.
that Robin Hood evolved from a series of outlaws and popular stories rather than one specific person.
Okay. Yeah,
But
I think
or,
I think it was. It's never really been proven if he lived or not. I might be wrong with that. Like there might have been a real Robin Hood, or he could have just been fictitious. I think is kind of the thing I remember. I might be completely wrong, but we'll
okay.
have to do a little
Yeah.
dive into these guys
I
too.
was gonna say that's
Yeah,
a new Google tab that's
that's
open to
right.
be visited with in just a
When
minute.
we're finished recording, we'll both click over to that
Yes.
tab. But yeah, they ordered that, and then he's got Joey's credit card, which is a nice turn of events because throughout the whole of Friends, it's really Joey borrowing money from Chandler most of the
Yes.
time. So this is a nice change to that. Um, but then, as these things tend to happen in the life of Chandler and Janice, Chandler wakes up and Happy Valentine's Day comes Janice lying beside him, and he wonders what in the world he has done.
Yes.
Yes.
Ah,
And then
gosh.
he tries to usher her off and get her out of there as quick as he can. And
And
this is a
it's just
fantastic scene.
yes, one unfortunate event and another.
Yes.
And Monica makes me laugh so hard because she's Rachel, come
Come
here.
here.
And I feel like she went inside and called Ross, but
Absolutely. Absolutely. How can we humiliate Chandler?
and
I
Joey
think,
walks up and
yeah.
oh yeah.
The only thing I found odd about this scene was I don't know why I find it odd, but Rachel reaches out and shakes her hand, which I
Yeah.
don't know why I thought that was just an odd greeting. They know each other, and I don't know. I just thought that was an odd thing.
And
I don't know
I
why.
did
Nobody else did that. Nobody
ri
else is.
right.
Yeah,
And
you're not just
like they
give
don't
give her a
yeah.
hug. I don't know.
Or a wave.
Or a wave.
Like
Yeah, give her a
when
hug or
is a
nothing.
handshake?
The handshake is an odd one for me.
Yeah. And I'm
Yes.
curious if we ever see Rachel shake somebody's hand because she offers the hand for the handshake. Like
Yes.
it's her
It was
thing. But
a peculiar thing to me.
yeah, I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah, but we hop over from there to Benny Hanna's and Ross's. Evidently, it seems. I think we find out later it's his first date post Carol,
Yes.
and he's talking
Yes.
about dog years in the plane and all of this.
Yeah.
Awkward first date talk. But then
Uh-huh.
Carol and Susan walk in, and he just kind of melts down. It's almost a slightly Chandler-esque meltdown. He doesn't really know what to say or how to explain the situation.
Oh, yeah, and then she stand
Yes,
yeah.
yes. Poor old,
Yeah, and
poor
then
old
she's
Ross. I
oh,
do feel
and
for
she's
him.
pregnant with my baby.
That's right.
I always
That's right.
forget that part. It's like,
It's
"Oh my
so
god."
good. But we'll come back to that scene shortly. But we do bounce over to the beginning of the burning ritual, where they're throwing all the things in. One of those
Yes.
things that just stands out for me so much forever since I first saw this was the name Nokolulu Unk
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's just fantastic. Um,
Yes.
and who else would date somebody with that name but Phoebe?
Right.
Um, and then I did have to Google what the drink was
A
because we
fresca?
weren't, no, we weren't quite sure. Kate thought it was vodka. I thought it was something else, but it's grappa is what Rachel pours on the fire,
I
and
thought.
we even
Oh
double
wait,
checked.
the
Oh,
from
from
Paulo's
Paolo's
drink.
bottle, yes,
Oh, okay.
different drink, I think.
No, no, it's just Fresca.
That's right.
The
There
whenever
was.
she asks for the sage branches and the
That's
Sacramento
right.
wine, and she brings the oregano and Fresca.
Oregano and Fresca. That's
But
right.
okay, so what was the thing from Paulo? What was
Grappa.
the grappa?
Grappa. Yes.
I've no, and it's just alcohol.
Yeah, it's made from leftover bits of grapes. Like not this. Like they use certain bits of grapes to make wine,
Mm-hmm.
and then grappa is the stuff that's left over, like the stems and the skins and the seeds and things that they don't use in winemaking.
Oh,
So it makes it a wine spirit that's apparently very good for the digestion. I don't know if I've
interesting.
ever drank grappa, but that's.
Oh,
I kind of knew what it was made of, but I didn't know it was good for digestion.
well, there.
In my quick Google, but it's yeah, very high alcohol content. But again, why in the world are they not doing this on the balcony? At what point, Monica, the neat freak, wants her house smelling of smoke? You know, now I don't know if she's
Right.
such a neat freak at this point. I don't know if we've really seen that. Maybe we have, but I can't think of a moment where we've seen that almost OCD-ish side come out. That
With
yeah,
the moving of the furniture. But that's
right,
really it.
yeah. But
And
who in the world would do this?
whenever she moved that, and then the pillows before her parents come over,
That's right.
but not a whole lot,
But
not to
but
what it
still,
becomes.
if you have a balcony, you're not. Even if you don't, you're not having a burning ritual in the middle of your living room. Everything's going to smell like. I mean, just terrible. Just terrible.
Well,
All the stuff they're burning.
maybe it was really, really windy outside.
Right there is that. It could have
Yeah,
been.
I mean, I'm sure, or really, really cold, or
Yes,
something.
something. I mean, it is February in New York, so it's going to be cold.
Yeah.
So that would kind of make
I'm just
sense,
trying to think of why
right?
you, but like not even an open window or anything.
Right.
Like,
Middle
yeah,
of the living room. Let's set a bucket of stuff on fire. Just doesn't seem wise, as we'll find out. Doesn't
right.
really end well. We go back over to Central Park, and here we are. Chandler is ready to dump Janice yet again. But
That's
before
not,
that,
I,
the candy hearts.
yes.
Yes, yes. She brings these out. It's funny that the episode is named after such a tiny moment.
Yeah. Not
It's
even 30 seconds. Like,
yeah.
it's
The one
so
with the
quick.
burning ritual would have made more sense to me,
Hmm.
or something.
Or the bad
But
first date.
yes,
Or, yeah.
something
I,
other than this. It was an odd one.
yeah,
Yeah, I
it was
did wonder
odd.
if there was more Candy Heart stuff that was cut out of what I. No, yeah, I thought
No,
maybe there could have been.
no. Like, for this one, like, it just her repeating about her friend, um,
Right.
Abby, and then oh, and
Yeah.
then in the hallway there was a whole little scene, not full scene, but like whenever they're having that reunion in the hall.
Yes. Yes.
Chandler has some pretty funny physical comedy where he's pretending to shoot her and shoot himself, and I mean it does not age well, of
Right.
course,
Right.
but and it was just kind of like, oh my gosh, like he's just
Right.
like, kill me.
Right. But
But
that's good to know that again. And we're at that
yeah,
point. It was 39 minutes in for the second time. I need to buy the DVDs. It
there
will
you go.
happen. It will happen.
Yes, yes.
But yeah, she gifts him these lovely candy hearts. Chandler explains that he it's not going to work out, and Janice handles it like a champ. I love it. I love the way she handles this because you would expect her just to start crying and getting upset like she has before, but no.
Mhm.
Yep.
No, because it's like a foghorn.
Yeah, that's it. Janice.
This
Janice.
Janice.
Yeah,
See,
yeah,
she's great. I mean, she
he
really
truly
is.
is
She's
such a great
ridiculous.
character. And
But
then,
she's
yeah,
sorry,
no,
sorry.
you're
I'm
fine.
just
No, she
thinking
walks
about
out
her.
and call me. Like he just
Y-
can't give her up.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
It's so
Uh-huh.
good. But going from one unsuccessful moment to possibly another, we bounce back over to Benihana's, where Susan gets beeped and then has to leave.
Yes.
Now, I think later on, much later on in the series, she's doing some kind of photo shoot in London or
Uh-huh.
some kind of shoot. So I don't know if she still has the same job. Is she? I think it does it imply that she's some kind of photographer. Do they say they thought you could do this shoot without you?
Yeah,
Something like that.
I thought they could shoot the spot without you.
That's it. That's it. I
And
didn't
then
write that down.
the
Yeah.
piece that gets cut out
Ah.
is Susan says, she goes, after Carol asks her that, she's like, I thought they could. But then she says, the maxi pads were a piece of cake. You'd think the mini pads would be much easier. She's
Right.
like, but it's Valentine's Day. And Susan goes, I know, but it's my job.
Right.
And then she says, I'll try to get back as soon as I can. I'm sorry. And that
Gotcha.
part's in yours. But that, like, where it sounds like a, a photographer for ads and things like
Yeah, that's
that.
kind of what I
Hmm.
was going with there. So yeah, unfortunately, Susan has to take off. So Carol invites, these people will scooch. And what are you
Oh,
doing, Ross? What are you doing?
what?
Like
Yes.
it's a nice gesture. It's a nice, sweet gesture, but that's not something you do with a first date. I would think, where you haven't established what's going on yet. Maybe if it
Right.
was a later down the line, that might be the done thing when you know there's more dates coming. But if this is your first date, that needs to be your sole focus, I would think.
You would think, but that's not
No, he's
Ross.
still so hung up on Carol, which we'll come to. And I have a question about what happens with Carol.
Okay.
We'll get to that. Um, but let's see. Yes, so Carol, they scooch down. Carol comes and joins them. I think at that point, the firemen are in the girl's apartment putting out the fire. Um, where they said this is their busiest night of the year, not their first boyfriend fire. But yeah, I did wonder if I'm assuming he just sent off the smoke alarms, but in that situation, I wonder if they have to evacuate the whole building, or if it's just, or did they just call because it was getting out of control? I wonder what happened that caused the fire department to have to come
Okay.
over.
So it was the cutscenes, like the
Right,
stuff that's on my DVD. Rachel starts off by thanking them for coming.
right,
And then he's like, well, that's pretty much our job to come. And
right,
so that kind of gave me the impression that they did call for help.
right. Good. When
So,
this thing was getting out of control.
mhm.
But I just think like the smoke damage to furniture, like it must surely all stink. But
Okay,
you
it
know,
would have to. Okay, so we have a fireplace,
right?
in our house, and the number one rule whenever you're starting a fire in your fireplace is to open the
Of course,
flue,
yes.
the
Flu, yes,
okay, to open the flue.
yes,
Well, I always every year forget if I ever close the flue from the year before.
yes,
And so I can't ever remember, is it open if it's down or is it closed if it's up? I can't
right,
remember. Okay. So I think it was either last winter or the winter before. Um I was messing with it and I was 100% certain I had it open at that point.
right.
So I started my fire and then Joseph came in and he's like, "Whoa, it's smoky in here."
Right.
And then I realized it's rather smoky, and we have
Right.
pretty tall ceilings. We have pretty
Right.
tall ceilings. So the fact that it was smoky uh all the way through was a pretty big deal. And so we opened up the windows. I'm pretty sure the fire alarm went off. Like it
Right.
was a whole thing. My house smelled like a campfire for
Right.
probably a month.
Right.
And I mean, yeah, and we don't have carpet like in the downstairs, like we have it in our bedroom, but nowhere else. And
Right.
so it wasn't like the smoke was staying in the floors or anything like that. Like it
Right.
was, and the walls smelled like I feel like everything. So that lasted,
Yeah.
all of 30 seconds. So if you're thinking about the fact that they started that fire and that fire was going, and they called the fire department, and the fire department came and showed up, and all that time,
Right.
like
Yeah.
everything had to stink for a long time.
And it's like you said, it wasn't like even a fireplace smell, which or campfire smell. It's synthetic materials and all sorts of things that
And
have been thrown in.
alcohol, and
Yeah,
yeah.
just
Uh-huh.
it's not good. But yeah, it's their busiest night of the year, as one of them declares.
Mhm.
Um, um, let's see. I think I jumped ahead. I think the next scene is where Janice actually gives Chandler the candy hearts and he
Candy
dumps her.
hearts, you're
We've
right.
already dumped.
Yes.
Yeah, I skipped over that bit. But yeah, calls out to her like a foghorn. What a great line! And it's that whole I can't remember exactly what it is, but you need me, you want me, you can't live without me. Like I like
Yes.
this confidence that she has. She's not
Yeah,
going to be
because
shaken by
she's
she
figured
knows.
it all out.
Yeah,
She has figured it out, and
yeah.
Janice is awesome.
So we'll skip over that bit because we talked about it. We're back in
Okay.
Benihana's. Oh,
Wait, wait,
go ahead,
wait.
go go
No,
go,
let's talk
please,
about whenever he is like breaking up with
please.
her. And he is
Yes,
like, there's no way, well, no new way to tell
yes.
you this. And it cracks me up.
It's full of these one-liners. Um,
Yes.
this trauma he has with Janice
Yes.
is so good. But yeah, Ross's date, which is her name's Kristen Riggs, and she's played by an actress called Nancy Vallon, who we'll talk about in a little bit. She has left. She went to the bathroom, but she's gone. Um, and basically,
Yeah, maybe it's
you're
cold in there.
right. And poor old Ross basically confesses, doesn't he, to Carol that he's still got feelings.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to venture into dangerous territory here, given what we've discussed about Aurora, and then given what we've discussed about somebody else and their moral code. I can't remember who that was now, just a week or two ago. But does this constitute cheating? Carol, the way she leans in and goes to kiss Ross for a lingering few seconds. Like, is that cheating or is it not? Or is it some weird gray area because of who it is and the situation?
Yeah,
Because
man.
my gut told me it was. Kate was a little more, it's not right. Like, it's not okay. But, we both agreed it's just weird and oogie and not okay. But the way she kind of puts
Yeah.
the pin in it and then takes it out, and she kind of leans in to kiss Ross, I feel like it was definitely a, I don't know.
Well,
We're
and
not
it was
judging.
it. No, we are
Yeah,
not judging,
here on the
guys.
Purple Door podcast, we are not judging, but it
Yeah,
was a weird one for me.
for sure. It was
Yes,
weird. And I
yes,
wondered, like, for me, I was like, but I honestly didn't even give it a whole lot of thought because I kind of felt like it was closure.
that I think Kate said that too. It might be wrong, but that I think that came
Yeah.
up in the conversation that this was Ross still has feelings, and she kind of gives him a kiss goodbye, almost.
Yeah, like
You know,
that's kinda how I took it whenever he's
yes,
like, the putting a pin in it, like, let's just ignore the fact that you don't like men like that,
right.
and, and I felt like it was a closure, it was a kiss goodbye, it was end. you know?
Yes, it was the end of
And
that era. Yes.
I felt I don't know, like that was sad to me
It
for
was, but
Ross.
I do feel for Ross. We give him a hard time, and usually, always, it's
Yeah.
deserved. But this time, we do. I do. He's heartbroken, a little lovesick. I got to feel for him.
Yeah.
Poor
And
old Ross.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But it also kind of uh we spent some time talking about Carol and her being calculated and manipulative and
Right.
and I still wonder if we don't have that spot on. I
I've
really
got. The
do.
more I think about it, surely, um, yeah, she was being manipulative or playing Ross a little bit or something. Um, yeah, whenever I see sort of Carol and Susan Ross popping in, I think, yeah, that was set up like that.
Yeah.
Um,
And so I've got my little like script, the thing that has the blue lines that are on mine and not yours and
yes,
everything. And he gives her like three reasons of why they are perfect together. He said, I've got a ring at home that
right,
fits you. There's lots of pictures that have both of us in it.
right,
And then he talks about the baby. And
right.
you know, and
That's so interesting.
it's so
Yes,
sad. And then they kiss and she's like, and I love you too, but that thing over here
yes.
where I just don't feel that way.
Oh,
Yeah, like, yeah,
yeah, you do
poor
feel for him.
Ross. That sucks. Maybe he
Yeah,
should have had that closure before he started trying to date.
that's
I
what I'm
don't know.
thinking.
I mean,
That's what I'm thinking.
am I crazy to think like this should have been closed up? I don't know. And I guess okay, here's a question because I've
Yes,
never been a man on a first date.
right,
I can
right.
say that confidently, but like do you ask people out on dates whenever you still have all these other unfinished things happening over here?
I
Like,
mean, not if you're wanting it to last.
and
Yeah, you got
that's
to get your own house in order. You know.
right. And so
Yes.
I think about, you know, friends that we've got that like that date people and I'm like I wonder like all of our single friends out there like I tie up all your loose ends before you start
Right.
dating people because what a waste of an evening for that poor lady.
Yeah, because she seemed perfectly nice. It could have been, you know, she was
Yeah.
into, didn't she? Say something to do with science? No, no, I can't remember
She
what it
did
was.
something that was
Was
not
not
her
her major.
major.
That's right. So
But
yeah, she could have been. She could have been something wonderful for Ross and for each
and
other.
now she'll just have to avoid him in the hallway
Right.
in their building. How
Right.
rude. How rude of
Indeed.
you, Ross. That's
Indeed.
right. I have twisted this whole thing around to hate on Ross.
Right. Poor old
But
Ross.
man,
Yeah, no, yeah, you
yeah,
maybe he thought he was over her until he saw her, and she looked so sad. But still, yeah, tie up those loose ends, get your
yeah.
own house in order, and
And
then
he's got a
yes,
pregnant ex-wife over here, so
yeah,
it's not even been 9 months, and
right,
he's decided he loves Rachel and all of that, and then like it just seems like a lot in a very short amount of time.
yeah, a
But
lot
maybe
going
that's
on for
because I'm
Ross.
old now.
Right,
And so time just seems
seems
different.
different. Yes.
I don't know.
Well, poor
But
old thing. Now, there's this weird random woman who walks through the set. It looks like Ross and Carol are the only people in the whole restaurant to me. And then, as soon as she suggests meeting somebody else, here comes this, you know, woman with
random
long
lady.
legs just strutting through the like a runway. Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's just such a funny thing that yeah,
Yes.
just random person walking past the table. But we finished now on the last note back in the girls' apartment, and the girls are going to the three ladies are going to date the three firemen. Um, these firemen, I couldn't quite decide if all three were married, or if it was just the one was married and even his girlfriend doesn't know or something. I wasn't
Uh,
quite sure how to take what they were saying.
yeah, well, he says you guys tell them you were married. And
Right.
so there's
Okay.
also the
Yes.
beginning part of that scene is cut for you,
Right.
where they're
Okay.
talking about, like, sliding down the pole and all of this, and they're kinda joking back and forth. And then
Right.
Monica is the one who asks is she's like, so maybe sometime you guys would like to," and Rachel says, "Go for a drink?" And then the guy's like, yeah, one of the firemen's like, "Yeah, that sounds good. We've got to go now." And then
Yep.
the
That
other
wasn't
guy's like,
there.
"We get off about midnight, so why don't we come and pick you up then?"
Right.
And so, number one, why are you what? Who
Yeah.
goes out for a drink at midnight? I don't
Right.
know. These people, they don't live my life.
Right. It's a very different life than what you and I both live.
Uh,
I've been asleep for several hours come midnight.
mhm.
Yeah, without a doubt. But yeah, as it ends for you, as it ends for me with the fireman walking down the steps.
Yeah, and
Yeah, at least one. I think from what you've said, at least two are married, and one is married and already with a girlfriend.
yeah,
Just bad news. Glad that that doesn't apparently last very long, if at all.
yeah.
So it's good to end. But when I was thinking about something new, I really looked at a couple of different characters that we meet, and nobody really jumped out at me except for Joey's date, who's played by a lady called Nancy Vallon. Um, Now, I didn't watch Baywatch, but she was, I don't know if she was a star, but she was in 22 episodes of it. So
Oh,
obviously a recurring lifeguard. I don't know how long Baywatch ran for. I think it was just in the 90s. Um, and obviously gets a mention on Friends later on, where
yeah,
Joey
it
and Chandler
does.
watch it together. She played a lady called Samantha Thomas on Baywatch,
Oh,
which means
okay.
nothing to me. Um,
No.
but she's from Brooklyn, but she also appeared just in one episode each of Boy Meets World, Saved by the Bell, and Spin
Ah,
City. So some great '90s
what?
shows.
What was
Yes.
Spin City? I feel
Oh,
like I
that's a
should know that one.
tremendous show. It was a sitcom where Michael J. Fox played like the mayor's assistant in New York.
Okay,
And
okay,
then when he got sick in real life, he left the show and Charlie Sheen came in to replace him.
okay,
Um, Now, another shout out to Steve. It's one of Steve's all time favorite shows because he
okay.
is a huge Michael J. Fox fan. And it kind of went downhill after Michael J. Fox left because it was centered around him. But it was a great, fairly typical sort of 90s NBC sitcom.
Okay.
So yeah, tremendous, a really, really funny show, Spin City. But yes, she was just in one episode of each of these and in one episode of Friends also. So bounced around the sitcom circuit, which seems to be a fairly common thing. Um, so yeah, she was in that, but that was my only sort of something new for this episode that I've really researched.
My
Um, Now, I think I know where this is going, but we look at our Gunther Central Park for the week. Who's who stood out for you, Deanne?
Okay, yes, I am sure that you will find this shocking.
Yes.
Um, it's winning.
Yeah,
I went
yes.
back and forth. I went back and forth between Chandler
Yep.
and Janice.
I thought you might. Yes.
Yeah, and so, like, for me, God, like, Janice, she's so great, and I know in the future, there's one episode where I will absolutely, hands down, she'll be my Gunther Central perk with no
Yes.
questions. Like, I already know what
Yes.
episode that is, like, in the
Right.
end. And so is it controversial if I, like, split it in between the two of them, or do I have to pick one?
I think that's instead of being a coffee cup or something, it's almost like two espressos. I think you can split it.
Okay, I would like to
Yes.
split it between Chandler and Janice.
I like it. I did go back, by the way, and write down all of mine from all the episodes. So at
Okay,
the end, to the end of the season, I can tally them up.
okay,
Yes. Um,
okay. I will do that as well
there you go.
because
They
I
would get half a
started to,
point
and then
each.
got distracted, which I'm sure is shocking.
I am shocked. Yes. Well, I had the same dilemma, but I just went with Chandler,
Uh-huh.
100%, because the Chandler, if it was just Chandler and Janice interactions, it would have to be a tie. But I've given it
Yes.
to the edge to Chandler because of his opening scene. Go with the egg, my friend. I love that scene, and
So
you're right. This is
winning.
winning. Yeah. So because of that, I have
Yeah.
chosen Chandler as my
Oh,
Gunther Central Park of the
good
week.
choice. Good
Thank
choice.
you,
Oh,
and to
I need
you.
like an applause sound thing.
We do. I can get one
Yay.
on here. Yes, yes. So we've got that, and then how would you rate it out of our 10 cups of coffee this
Oh,
week?
this one is a solid 8.
Okay,
Solid 8 for me. Mhm.
okay. So a little controversial, perhaps. I like the episode. I don't love it as a whole.
Oh,
Now, anything with Chandler and Janice immediately gets a boost. But
right.
I'm actually going to go with a 7. I'm going to go with a 7 for this one. A little lower
There.
than I thought, but again, I'm looking at my other ones, and for me, it kind of aligns with being a 7.
Yeah. See, and last episode, I feel like I was talking to you kind of about why or how I gauge my my coffee mugs. And
Yes,
if it makes me laugh out loud, like
right.
you're going up because that's the whole purpose.
This is why
That's
we.
the
This is why
purpose.
we do this. Yes,
This is why, because if it's gonna make me laugh, and then if it's gonna make Joseph laugh out loud,
right.
that's a different level. So, I mean, this is one of those where it's just quick and funny,
Yep.
and so for me, that's always gonna carry a lot of weight.
That's funny because I'll gauge it by laughter, but I
Mhm.
also gauge it by Kate's pre-laughter, where she giggles because she knows something is coming up, and I know if that happens, it's a good one. Like
Yes, yes,
that's that
that's
that happens quite
excellent.
a lot. The pre-laugh, which I enjoy immensely. But let's
Yes.
see. I mean, next week we're going to look at the one with the stoned guy, and
Ah,
all
I'm excited
yes,
about that one.
this will be fun to review. I'm looking forward to this to doing that one. But on that note, let's see. Have you got any other thoughts about this one, the Candy Hearts, before we wrap this up?
Yeah. Have you ever
Yep.
had candy personalized?
That's a great question.
Mhm.
Something in me tells me. I remember on M and M's you could get like
Mhm.
something. I think maybe that,
Yeah.
but I've not. What about you? Have you ever had it done?
Yes, we had
Yes.
M&Ms made for our wedding, and they were pink and then
That's
green, which were the like this light pastelly green.
how very
Uh
wicked of you to have pink
yeah,
and green.
yes, that's true.
Yes.
Before Wicked was a thing.
Yes.
But yeah, and so we did that, but this episode, and I think we had whenever we had the boys, one of the boys, we didn't have them made, but I found like It's a Boy, like M&Ms that were pre-made
Oh,
with
that's
It's a
fun.
Boy. But
Yes.
but this episode makes me think that it's time for me to order something
I think
that
so. I think we
I
should
mean,
do
if you've
that.
got Chan and Jan forever, I
Right?
feel like
Maybe we
yeah.
should have those made and have a bowl when we record live in a couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah,
There
that's a
you go.
great idea.
Well, I know what
That
I'm
is a
Googling
great
later on today is how we're
yeah,
doing that. Right?
I'll open up the next tab right
The
now.
next time. Well, wonderful. Well, on that note, yep, we'll record the one with the stoned guy soon. But on that note, this has been a tremendous episode to review, and thank you all for tuning in to the Purple Door podcast.